find your places, and I'm going to, if she's ready, invite Cindy to come back up again. I've asked her if she would do something with me. Many years ago, when I was at the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics in Boulder, Colorado, I went to one of the best readings that I think I've ever been to in my life, and it was a reading where the entire reading was the work of Federico Garcia Lorca. I don't speak Spanish. I didn't then, and I don't now, though I picked up a few things like everybody does here and there. 80-90% of the reading that night was in Spanish, and I did not feel like I was left out or detached from what was happening at all. I felt like I got all of the emotional content of the poems, and really it was an amazing and moving experience. And this is one of the reasons why I've tried to do as many bilingual readings in Vancouver as I can, and why I've invited people as I meet them to come and read poems in other languages. So I asked Cindy if she would be willing to read a little Lorca with me, but actually before we do that, I want to give her a chance to talk about Los Porteños, because we didn't actually get to that yet.
Yeah, just wanted to let you know that we've been in existence since 2005, and we were under the auspices of Milagro Theater. Are you familiar with Milagro? Yeah, and so we started out doing an annual Day of the Dead reading, because that's their signature piece. And at this point, we actually have gotten involved with a lot of community building activities with the Jewish theater, the Jewish Collaborative Theater. And last year we did our first theatrical production called Words That Burn, which was to commemorate the William Stafford Centennial. So it was a show about William Stafford, Lawson Anata, and Guy Gabaldon, these three men who had very different experiences during World War II. And so there's an upcoming reading on May 12th, in case you're interested, at 7 at Literary Arts. And this reading is about, it's inspired by William Stafford and Miguel Hernandez. Miguel Hernandez was a Spanish writer who was in prison for many years. And so what happens is Los Porteños handles the Stafford readings a little bit differently. They actually write new work in response to Stafford. So this year it will be in response to Stafford and to Hernandez. So that's May 12th at 7 o'clock. And of course also it's open to new membership if you self-identify as Latino or you're writing Latino themed work. Okay, so that's it.
All right.
Sure.
So this is a bilingual edition of Poet in New York. Was translated by Greg Simon and Stephen F. White. So Cindy will read the Spanish and I will read the English version of the poem. And the poem in English is Sleepless City, Brooklyn Bridge Nocturne. And I thought I might ask if we could alternate and do
Okay. You want the Spanish first?
Yes.
The original?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. By the way, Greg Simon lives in Portland. He is a treasure of our community. He's an incredible poet, incredible translator. So it's pretty cool to have a worker translator among us. Ciudad sin sueño, nocturno del Brooklyn Bridge. No duerme nadie por el cielo. Nadie. Nadie. No duerme nadie. Las criaturas de la luna huelen y rondan las cabañas. Vendrán las iguanas vivas a morder a los hombres que no sueñan. Y el que huye con el corazón roto encontrará por las esquinas al increíble cocodrilo quieto bajo la tierna protesta de los astros.
Sleepless City, Brooklyn Bridge Nocturne. Out in the city, no one sleeps. No one. No one. No one sleeps. Lunar creatures sniff and circle the dwellings. Live iguanas will come to bite the men who don't dream, and the broken-hearted fugitive will meet on street corners. An incredible crocodile resting beneath the tender protest of the stars.
No duerme nadie por el mundo. Nadie. No duerme nadie. Hay un muerto en el cementerio más lejano que se queja 3 años porque tiene un paisaje seco en la rodilla. Y el niño que enterraron esta mañana lloraba tanto que hubo necesidad de llamar a los perros para que callase.
Out in the world, no one sleeps. No one, no one, no one sleeps. There is a corpse in the farthest graveyard complaining for 3 years because of an arid landscape in his knee. And a boy who was buried this morning cried so much they had to call the dogs to quiet him.
No es sueño la vida. Alerta, alerta, alerta. Nos caemos por las escaleras para comer la tierra húmeda. O subimos al filo de la nieve con el coro de las dalias muertas. Pero no hay olvido ni sueño, carne viva. Los besos atan las bocas en una maraña de venas recientes, y al que le duele su dolor, le dolerá sin descanso. Y el que teme la muerte, la llevará sobre los hombros.
Life is no dream. Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! We fall downstairs and eat the moist earth, or we climb to the snow's edge with the choir of dead dahlias. But there is no oblivion, no dream. Raw flesh. Kisses tie mouths in a tangle of new veins, and those who are hurt will hurt without rest, and those who are frightened by death will carry it on their shoulders. Yeah, good one.
Un día los caballos vivirán en las tabernas y las hormigas furiosas atacarán los cielos amarillos que se refugian en los ojos de las vacas. Otro día veremos la resurrección de las mariposas disecadas, y aún andando por un pasaje de esponjas grises y barcos mudos, veremos brillar nuestro anillo y manar rosas de nuestra lengua.
One day, horses will live in the taverns. The furious ants will attack the yellow skies that take refuge in the eyes of cattle. Another day, we'll witness the resurrection of dry butterflies, and still walking in a landscape of gray sponges and silent ships, we'll see our rings shine and roses spill from our tongues.
Alerta, alerta, alerta. A los que guardan todavía huellas de zarpa y aguacero, aquel muchacho que llora porque no sabe la invención del puente, o aquel muerto que ya no tiene más que la cabeza y un zapato. Hay que llevarlos al muro donde iguanas y sierpes esperan, donde espera la dentadura del oso, donde espera la mano momificada del niño, y la piel del camello se eriza con un violento escalofrío azul.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Those still marked by claws and cloudburst, that boy who cries because he doesn't know about the invention of bridges, or that corpse that has nothing more than its head and one shoe. They all must be led to the wall where iguanas and serpents wait, where the bear's teeth wait, where the mummified hand of a child waits, and the camel's fur bristles with a violent blue chill.
No duerme nadie por el cielo, nadie, nadie, no duerme nadie. Pero si alguien cierra los ojos, azotadlo, hijos míos, azotadlo. Haya un panorama de ojos abiertos y amargas llagas encendidas. No duerme nadie por el mundo, nadie, nadie. Ya lo he dicho, no duerme nadie.
Out in the sky, no one sleeps. No one, no one, no one sleeps. But if someone closes his eyes, whip him, my children, whip him. Let there be a panorama of open eyes and bitter, inflamed wounds. Out in the world, no one sleeps. No one. No one. I've said it before. No one sleeps.
Pero si alguien tiene por la noche exceso de musgo en las sienes, abrid los escotillones para que vea bajo la luna las copas falsas, el veneno y la calavera de los teatros.
But at night, if someone has too much moss on his temples, open the trapdoors so he can see in moonlight the fake goblets, the venom, and the skull of the theaters. Thank you. Thank you to Cindy and thank you to Federico Garcia Lorca. One of the reasons why, if poetry was written in another language to begin with, I like to look at a bilingual edition is even if you don't know the language, there's so much that you can learn by seeing it on the facing page, or you could begin to learn something about that language. And what's funny is that Greg, who is one of the artists in this show and one of the people who is very important here at Angst and Niche Next Door, asked me a question that I consider a rhetorical question. He said, "Can I read Tristan Tzara?" And I said, "Yes, of course." So I want everyone to know that one of the things that is done here and is okay here and is allowed here is for people to read poems by other people. I really think because poetry is an oral tradition, we need to get these things into the air. And so it's all good. And if you have friends who are not writers but would like to participate in this reading, encourage them to bring a favorite poem and get up and read it as best as they can. You know? So I'm hoping that you'll go out and look for some work after that. And next I'm going to call up again my partner and co-host, Toni Partington, who's going to tell you a little bit about what's happening.
Before I bring up the next open mic reader, I just wanted to mention David Meltzer again, because we're really looking forward to hosting hosting David. And I don't know, maybe. David.
You got here early.
I guess so. David will be standing here in this room 2 weeks from tonight. It's 2 weeks. I'm so excited. The reading will be at 8 o'clock. It is free. We hope to fill the space because I can guarantee you it will be a night to remember. And you will probably walk away that evening feeling touched in some way, in your own unique way, by having met him, by listening to his work, and by connecting with someone that brings so much poetry history with him. And he's an astounding writer and a fantastic human being. And I'd like to say that we would hope that we could have David come again and again and again. I know that David's getting up there in years, and he said, I want to make it this year, and I don't know when I can make it again. So I encourage all of you, 2 weeks from tonight, 8 o'clock here. So you might come early so that you can get a seat. You might grab some food next door and something to drink and, be here and be ready. 2 days. No problem. You're okay? 2 days after that, he will be doing a workshop that's called Basic Mysteries. It's a talk, it's an educational talk, but he's very interactive with the audience, and this is based on his new reissued book, Two-Way Mirror. We are really need to have a small registration fee for that to be able to support the travel. It is $20 for students and seniors, $25 for teachers, and $30 for everyone else. Great.
Is it towards writers?
The book is really geared to exploring and delivering poetry and writing, but he is so inspirational that there is probably something that anybody could take away, no matter what your creative passion is, take away from that workshop. So I encourage you, if you are interested in that, there's a flyer, And I would love to have people pre-register, but if that won't work for you, you are certainly welcome to show up on that day. It will be from 2 to 5 p.m. in this room on Saturday, April the 25th. And if you have any questions at all, please see me and I'll do my best to answer those. The good news is we've been raising money to be able to bring David to Vancouver for a while. We have met the travel goal amount, which is just phenomenal. Our community is so generous. And what we are doing at this point is we're still accepting donations to be able to provide some meals for them while they're here, and also to provide some food for the attendees, for those who come to that workshop on that Saturday. We'd like to have a little something from niche for you to be able to feed you with while we're here. That's my Italian background. I want to feed everybody. So, having said that, and any questions at all, please don't hesitate to see me at the end or ask any questions that you'd like, because I'd love to answer any concerns or questions you might have about his visit or about the workshop, and get you plugged in if I can. So, let's hear from our next open mic reader, Miss Rainy Knight. Where are you, ma'am? There you are. Taller than me?
I'm good.
There you go.
Okay, before I do anything, because I keep forgetting this, so I wrote it right down here. The last Tuesday of the month, the 28th of April, at Barnes & Noble at 7 p.m. I will be there. I hope you will be there. David Hill is on hiatus, so I need you to come and support me. So please come, okay?
Barnes & Noble.
Barnes & Noble on 4th Plain. It's the only one in town, isn't it?
Dan Plaza.
I think it's the only one in Vancouver.
By the Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, toward 205. Okay, a lot of what I do has to do with things that happen to me every day, and this was inspired by a class. It's phytoplankton. I woke up thinking about phytoplankton and how it is the dominant nourishment in the sea. I could not quite remember in order the critters that ate each other, one larger than the one who ate the phytoplankton, all the way up to the humongous gray whale, largest on the planet, its heart as big as an automobile. It was a segment of the Blue Planet I showed a group of freshmen in science class. So beautifully filmed, one could feel a part of it, if only for an hour. Of course, nature can be what humans call cruel. Black and white killer whales chased the huge gray whale and her calf for miles and miles, until the calf was so exhausted that then the pod of 15 killer whales attacked and drowned it. They only ate part of the jaw and tongue, leaving the corpse to be stripped clean by other sea life. Mama whale swam on, bereft, survival depending on finding her pod and food, phytoplankton. And this winter I was given, well actually I traded it for a Trader Joe's bag and some Christmas lights, a metal 4-drawer cabinet which I can put all my stuff in. And so all my stuff came out of boxes, and I'm finding poetry that I wrote a long time ago, and this is from 1998, Redheaded Stepchild. I get tired of being treated like a redheaded stepchild because I've got spirit, and sometimes, I admit, I can be Mary quite contrary. They overlook the times I'm beguiling and downright sweet. Everything that is not redheaded stepchild behavior, they edit out. I stand naked with my ragmop hair wagging in the freedom of the wind, thumb my nose at them. You see, if I am a redheaded stepchild like they say, in part it is reaction to how they treat me. I get so tired of being treated like I am a redheaded stepchild, but oh, how I love that wind.
Let's hear from Lydia. Where are you, Lydia? There you are.
That's right. Oh my goodness, look at that.
So I brought a poem here to read tonight, which was based on a prompt in Chris's class to write a poem about an album or singer that you love, and I chose Van Morrison's Astral Weeks. Against my skin, Van Morrison's voice is at it again, making an album in a week that will take years from my life because I cannot stop listening to this shit. This is some good shit. This is stay in your room for days and draw the blue velvet curtains shut and lie in bed naked, shivering all over with a need you fear can never be met because you're a creature sentenced to live its entirety in a shell called body. You can't fault human beings for being born with the ability to imagine transcending this is all there is, yet dependent on the right hit of brain chemicals so that we think we can glimpse we've flown beyond the veil into something finer. Always the need to experience what's more than the limit of our skin, a need that causes us to strain against the very embodiment of being alive. But there are moments like this where we can be convinced it's all right because Van Morrison is here, sort of, kind of like an ancient god come down in a fall of lyric and light. Surely the sweet thing he's singing of must be more than just his voice against my skin. Surely the things he's making me feel must be definitive proof that there really is more than this.
That was great. It's so interesting to me because you just never know how these things align on poetry night, but they do. And there's maybe some irony in that. And I love Van Morrison. I also really love Simon and Garfunkel, and it's really interesting because I found the lyrics to The Boxer because I love that song. And I did it with this person in mind who's in the room, who is our featured reader next month. And I will be calling him up to give you a sneak preview in a moment. But I printed this off so I could read it for him, because it just seemed to me appropriate. The Boxer, by Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel. And I'm not going to sing it. You don't need that. I am just a poor boy. Though my story is seldom told, I've squandered my resistance for a pocket full of mumbles, such are promises. All lies and jests, still a man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest. When I left home and my family, I was no more than a boy in the company of strangers, in the quiet of the railway station, running scared, laying low, seeking out the poorer quarters where the ragged people go, looking for the places only they would know. Lie, la, lie. Asking only workman's wages, I come looking for a job, but I get no offers. Just to come on from the whores on 7th Avenue. I do declare there were times when I was so lonesome, I took some comfort there. Lie, la, lie. Then I'm laying out my winter clothes and wishing I was gone, going home, where the New York City winters aren't bleeding me, leading me, going home. In the clearing stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade. and he carries the reminders of every glove that laid him down and cut him till he cried out in his anger and his shame, I am leaving, I am leaving. But the fighter still remains. Lie, la, lie. Mr. Herb Stokes, come on.
I love it. This is my favorite herb, by the way. Say,
Mine too.
third favorite? Yeah, my favorite herb. I love it.
Buenas noches. And buenas noches again for you personally. This piece is called His First Fish. The first fish I ever caught was a brook trout. They were the most plentiful trout in Long Island streams back then. I took my 7-year-old grandson fishing for his first time in the bay for flounder. It was the best chance for him to catch a fish, and it was conveniently just down the street from his house. I went over a few basic tactics. Don't throw stones in the water or beat on top of the water with a fishing pole. And how to cast out and reel in. When to set the hook and endeavor to discover patience. After a half hour of anxious waiting, I decided to rebait his hook with a fresh bloodworm. I removed the bloated and bleached out deceased worm, but before I could replace him with his happy-go-lucky brother worm, my grandson, who had not yet learned patience, heaved the lined weight and empty hook back into the water. I told him, fish do not bite empty hooks. A very stupid flounder seized the empty hook almost immediately. My grandson forgot all about reeling in. He just jerked the fish out of the water. It sailed over our heads, landed on the dock, bounced off the hook, and landed inches away from the plastic bag I brought in case he caught something. 5 minutes later, he caught another one, and another soon after. Now he was ready to go home and get on his computer and play an exciting game of shooting people and blowing up buildings. He'd had enough of real killing.
So don't miss it.
Next month, Herb Stokes, 7 o'clock, second Thursday. Long Island will be alive in this room, what can I say? And next, let's hear from Morgan Hutchinson. Morgan.
Thank you for adjusting, Toni. I appreciate that. Adjusting for everybody in the room, that's so nice. So, speaking of Herb,
What a segue. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't until he was just talking. I own a marijuana retail store right up the road. Yes, Broadway, 1906 Broadway. It's a block over and then up.
What's it called?
High-end Marketplace, which is the shirt that Chris is wearing. Thank you for modeling here, Chris. We are having a monthly cultural community event called Sunday Sessions. And we're fortunate enough to have Chris Luna and the band River Twain join us for our first ever Sunday Sessions. It's going to be the last Sunday of every month at the shop, so they'll be performing while you can, buy what you'd like or not. You can just enjoy what the performer's doing. There are flyers right back there on the table, I believe. So please check us out if you haven't already. There's my shameless plug for the night, as a lot of other people do. I appreciate the attention. So I have a couple poems tonight. The first is a Argentinian poet called Manuel Castilla. Estudié en Argentina para 4 meses, 2 años, hace 2 años. I need to practice my Spanish. I know some Spanish. I've never read a Spanish poem here at Open Mic. I know that Angeline usually does, which I always appreciate, and she's not here, unfortunately. But I'd like to share a short poem with you from Manuel Castilla. It's called Misterio y Melancolía de una calle. Si yo me fuera por esa recoba, me encontraría con el mar que viene, comiéndole la sombra a la recoba. Si yo me fuera por la calle sola, se encontraría con la sombra larga. Todo mi miedo en esa calle sola. Si yo me fuera de esta calle un día, donde jugaba la muchacha sola, jugaría sola la melancolía. Si yo me fuera. Thank you. That wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. Okay. Right. And then this one I wrote just today, like an hour before open mic. I was like, okay, I have not written anything in a while, so let me get it out there. So it definitely still needs some editing, probably, as always, but it's called Staples. Those mornings, pan sizzling with butter for our over medium eggs that you always made so much better than I did. English muffins in the toaster, think out loud on the radio. Hoagie, staring at the ball, then us, then the ball, then us, then the ball. Bouncing full speed off the wooden fence straight into Hoagie's mouth. Coffee, ground in the grinder I bought you the first Christmas we were together, that you were never going to use for grinding coffee. The back porch, smoking a bowl, sitting on that purple couch my mom bought last year for $10. Cup of coffee in hand, the ball returning to our feet. Those afternoons, 6-pack of tall cans for a quick trip to that spot, our secret spot on the Kalama River that is just far enough away from the road to feel comfortable naked. Hoagie, staring at the stick, then us, then the stick, then us, then the stick, hitting the current, floating straight to our swimming bear. Conversations brought up by pure wonder at the world and about the beautiful place we call home, about the biting cold of the water and the trees. The ride home, your truck windows down so as to not leave the fresh air, my feet on the dash, the music up, our bodies tired from the sun. Those evenings, rice cooker on for your famous fried rice that you always threw together to perfection. Aroma of onion and soy sauce permeating the kitchen, fresh air on the radio. Hoagie, staring at the ball, then us, then the ball, then me, telling him to drop it, to come eat his dinner. The living room, that time for us to melt into the couch and melt into each other, to turn the daily noise off and tune into that necessary distraction. Our bed, that time for us to turn the lights off or leave the lights on. After, you reading your political thrillers, me my books of poetry. Our staples, our mornings, our over-medium egg sandwiches, our coffee, our afternoons, our endlessly playful dog, our riverbanks, our conversations about the world, our wonder, our evenings, our meals, our bed, our staples.
from Steve Whitney. Come on up, Steve. I'm gonna have to do this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Get this right. First time reading with us?
Yes.
This is Steve's first time reading with us.
So the first poem I wanted to read was, it's called Cemetery Rite. It's based on just think, all of us as kids did some kind of thing where we were like maybe, mocking youth mocking people who were old and thinking that we were always going to be young. So we did this thing where we were like, we took it to another level. We actually mocked death. So we would ride our bicycles through the cemetery. And so this poem came from that. When the last school bell rings, we swing from the hands of the clock by our teeth, unlock our bikes from the rack, and point their front fenders through the cemetery gates. We pedal fast, passing the cobweb tombstones, the gated family plots, the kicked over flower cans, the stub flags lapping at white crosses. Our bike pedals turn into hand grenades, our handlebars into bayonets, our bike chains into bandoliers. Breathing black wind, our rage scattering like wounded skin, leaves a sky of skeletons. Whenever I try to read, I always try to connect things that I'm reading with some kind of subject matter, but this next poem is called Even If It Means Working at McDonald's. And so, and I tried to connect it to, and I thought, well, if you eat at McDonald's long enough, you may end up in the cemetery, So there is a connection there, I guess. Not only was the second coming of Christ past due, but my rent, my car note, my electricity bill, my garbage bill, my water bill, my telephone bill, my cable bill, and my credit card payment were all past due. It was either get this job or end up working at McDonald's, even though I was allergic to French fries, and the last time I wore a food service hat, my hair fell out until I looked balder than the interviewer sitting at the head of the table. Okay, listen up. We had a black guy work here once before, and he only lasted 3 days. Do you think you could last longer? Maybe you could be a credit to your race. Excuse me, I said, trying to control my anger, swelling into a bomb, waiting to explode and leave shrapnel beneath the bottom roll of his triple chin. Did I stutter? I said, the black guy used to work here and only lasted 3 days. How long do you think you can last? I find your comments very offensive. What's so offensive? The guy was black. This country's come a long way. We had black dog catchers, black councilmen, black mayors, black governors, black congressmen, black senators, even a black president. My dental hygienist, chiropractor, and vet are all black. Whenever I talk about one of them, I say the black whatever they are. It's just that your statement about him only lasting 3 days implies that he was the first black person you ever had working here, and because he was black, he could not cut it. Look, our organization is big on diversity. Didn't you see the Asian, the Pakistani, the Kenyan woman, the Filipino, the Eskimo, the Puerto Rican, the Somali, and even the paraplegic when you walked in? They're all there, you just have to look for them. So if you were so committed to diversity, then why was it so hard for a black guy to last longer than 3 days, I said, still trying to control my anger that was swelling from a bomb into a blimp, ready to crash on the roof of the building. Like I said, we had one black guy work here. All I know is that he only lasted about 3 days. If you think you could do better, we can get on with the interview. If you don't, I have better things to do, like heat up my pulled pork TV dinner for lunch. If you think I can work at a place where I'm expected to keep quiet when you make an offensive statement just so I can last longer than 3 days, and where the conference room smells like burnt pulled pork, then you have another thing coming. I'll keep looking, even if it means working at McDonald's. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodness. All right, we're going to hear from is Bob Sunshine in the house. was just getting in the mood.
So do I.
Yeah, well, here you go.
Well, we got a little speaker there, as you all.
All right. Step away for a second, measure this.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Is this part of my time?
Of course it is.
Oh!
Yes.
Oh, isn't that the truth? You can't win. The only thing you need in Vancouver is a Fred Meyer's card. That's all you need. All right, here we go. I already did that one. I think this is going to work. Let's see. I like this one. I don't know why I love magic the way I do. I guess sometimes you all feel the same way too. We work hard to pay our bills and maybe get a thrill, but sometimes making someone disappear is the only thing that'll get you up the hill. But sometimes I wonder why I work as hard as I do. And then I remember. You be quiet now. I'm teaching you something. But it looks so good. I just have to. But I had one already wrinkled in my pocket. They just love to do it. I just taught you. You'll love to do it too. Let's see what's going on here. All right. I like the last reader that read poems just written today. That's all I do. So let's play some music. See if we can have some fun here. And then this is strictly time sensitive. If it works. Crawl on hands and knees, snake-like. Beggar's sign reads hunger strike. Stranger told me to look godlike. Neighbor helps me, 2 hands spike dike. It's good music. Not this one! Not this one. Oh dear is right! 1,000 years from now still wet. Inkjet, T-set, usherettes. Jungle Jim climbed as school kid. Now used to protect arachnid. What can I tell you? At least the music's good. Teacher always blackboard mad. Apple on desk. Armor clad. Yardstick ready for knuckles. Almost like Dad's belt buckles. Okay, here, this is participation. This is why I do this stuff. Just have fun. That's all I can tell you to do. Come on, don't act up. Okay, here we go. This is why you do. I gotta make it just a little louder. This is great. ZYX WVTS RQPO NM LK
J-I-H, yeah, whatever, F-E-D-C-B-A. Okay, we all know it now, don't we? Here we go. Everybody can join. A-B-C-D-E-F-G. Come on. H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O-P. Q-R-S-T-U-V-W-X-Y. Don't do this to me. Okay, here we go. It's almost over. It's almost over. That's the good news. Okay? That's the good news.